So we tend to go into, I want to sing more complicated bhajans, or we have this feeling that only if we sing a complicated bhajan, that is when Swami is going to be pleased. In fact, we have found that to be so contrary. In fact, in our experience, while sitting in front of Swami and singing, many times we have had some of our brothers singing short 3-line, 4-line bhajans in front of Swami, which would probably be the most blissful bhajan in front of Swami. So, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, which is just 3 lines, or Om Shivaya, that would give us a lot of joy than something which was slower and meditative or something. So it is not the complication of the bhajan that is important, or the simplicity. It is what connects to Him. And if we have the goal in our mind, it will definitely connect to Him.
There's one other obstacle that comes in our mind, which is somewhere, within us, we want to sing in a public bhajan more than we want to sing in the altars of our house. Right? Because we don't want to sing really for God, we want to sing for the God in the people. So while I'm facing the altar, my focus is on the people behind. No? So I'm closing like this and I'm wondering, while I'm singing, what is that guy thinking about my bhajan? And I'm doing it more for the accolades. I kind of, after the bhajan, oftentimes in the Sai organization, I've noticed, after singing a bhajan, you're actually feeling really good. You want people to come and say, and then when someone comes and say, oh, you sang so beautiful. All Swami's grace. You actually want that person to come and say, you say, hey, you're a superstar, man. Okay, but all Swami, I am not the singer at all. Fully knowing well that yes, I am the guy who thrashed the bhajan today. Right? So somewhere we have this thing about getting accolades. Right? So again, it's preventing us from our Sai. Right? Therefore, there should really be no difference between singing in our homes and singing in the bhajan. Not in terms of quality, I'm saying in terms of feeling. Right? There is no need to sing. Right? I'm reminded of a very, very beautiful personality in the Sai bhajans. His name was Kalyan Chaudhary sir. It's a name worth remembering because Hari Bhajana Bina Sukh Shanti was composed by him. Madhuvana Sanchari Shama Murari was composed by him. Some of the bhajans that Swami himself sang were composed by Kalyan Chaudhary sir. Right? So Kalyan Chaudhary was from Calcutta, and oftentimes Swami would ask students to go and learn from Kalyan Chaudhary sir during holidays. Go to Calcutta. So it was one very, very senior brother of ours. He had been to Calcutta to learn, and he noticed that his Kalyan Chaudhary sir's door was latched from outside. So he thought he's not there. He was actually inside. Kalyan Chaudhary sir was sitting inside. His wife had locked the door because Kalyan Chaudhary sir towards the end of his life would be so lost in meditation that he wouldn't know who is knocking at the door and all that. So he used to tell his wife, you shut the door, go out, do your thing and come back. Don't disturb me. So, sir, our brother knocked at the door and, then sir said, who is it from inside, So he said, sir, I am so-and-so, I've come from Parthi, Swami has asked me to meet you. So then he opens the door, he says, okay, you open the door and come in. So he opened the door, went inside, he sat. And then he says, why does Swami do all such things? Why is he sending people like you to people like me? Okay, you are close to Swami, So he said, I don't know, sir. So he said, maybe I just need to learn a few bhajans from you. He said, what are bhajans? I know. Okay. You want harmonium? He asks. And so he says, yes, sir, why not? And he says, okay, go in that room, somewhere below that one harmonium will be lying. So he said, this brother said, he went inside and the harmonium was tucked somewhere under, a big pile of, it was all dusty as if it has not been used, which is very shocking for a musician because for us, harmonium is like our life, right? I mean, you always sit and do riyaz or practice with the harmonium. And so he was quite surprised. So this brother brought the harmonium outside and, he placed it in front of him and he said, Sirji, I'm not able to understand, how come this is in this state, this harmonium is like this. And Kalyan Chaudhary sir makes a point, my God. He says, in Hindi I will first tell you, he says, कुछ नहीं, ये कमबख्त मेरे और भगवान के बीच में आ रही थी, इसलिए इसको निकाल दिया. Says, this little unnecessary thing was coming in between me and God, so I removed her off. I don't need the harmonium. Right? That is Kalyan Chaudhary sir. When we reach the pinnacle of our source, even the very instrument which took us to the source becomes unnecessary for us. Because then there is only me and God. Even the harmonium becomes an obstacle between me and the Lord. Right? Such is, so that is what we have to eventually reach out to. If it is going to be a harmonium which is going to be the basis for my connection with Swami, then there is something wrong. Right? There should be absolutely no intermediary, whether internal or external, between my connection with my Swami. Right?
It just shows how focused we should be. And talking about focus, it's also another thing that very often before we join the bhajan group, when we are in the fringe, when we are waiting to join, we are still practicing and they've told us come back for the next audition and so on, there's a lot of passion which we have till we join the bhajan group. Because until that point, we have only one focus, that is to sing one bhajan. I want to lead one bhajan. Now, in many places, right, even in the student community in Prashantinilayam, the benchmark is to sing in the first 1 hour of Akhand Bhajan.
I'm sure, right? All of you, all the prospective singers, the goal of all of Sai Bhajans is Akhanda Bhajan, first 1 hour I have to be singing.
If you don't sing in the first 1 hour, then you're not in the A list. But you're in the B team or the C team. After the mics are off, they'll say, please come forward and sing. Right? You don't want to be one of them. You want to be in the first lot of singers. When the first lot of singers, the names are drawn up, our name should be there. That becomes an obstacle too. Why? If your purpose or if your goal is to sing, it does not matter whether the mic is there or not. It does not matter which time of the Akhand Bhajan you're singing, right? So that becomes an obstacle. Another thing which we mentioned earlier about technicality, how we get lost in the bylanes of technicality in the bhajan. Many of us are musically trained, so there is a tendency to showcase or display our technical prowess into the bhajan. And that becomes an obstacle because Swami says, if you take the devotees towards God, then you are a singer. If they get lost in your technicalities and if they start admiring you or your skills, then the same singer becomes a sinner. Because you're sinning by not allowing them, because the people who have come for bhajans have come to connect to Swami. It is our responsibility to sing bhajans in a manner that enables them to connect to Swami, not connect to you or your skills. Right? We will go on? Or should we? Okay. For example, Kausalya Nandana Vaidehi Mohana Rajivalochana Rama Yugavatara Parameshwara Rama Asurani Kandana Kodanda Rama Bharatachita Shri Rama Paritipurishwara Rama. Very often this line takes a hit. The second time when the singer sings it, all the possible touches of Mand, the rag, comes through. He Bharata Chita Shri Rama Paritipurishwara Rama.
क्या बात है, वाह, क्या बात है.
Successfully sinned.
Yes.
I've successfully sinned.
Yes. Now you didn't clap for Lord. You clapped for Siddharth.
Yeah. So these are some of the things that lead singers can try and avoid. But lead singers probably are 1% of the population here, in any congregation. Most are all of us devotees who are following the bhajans and trying to reach Swami. So one thing that we have found that we get distracted, because even if we are leading the bhajans, in a bhajan session of 12 or 13 bhajans, we lead for one bhajan. So for the other 12 or 13 bhajans, we are also following bhajans like everyone else must. And one of the pitfalls in while we are doing that is, we tend to think that if X is singing, I will follow the bhajan. I want Y to sing. I want Z to be playing the harmonium when I sing. I like the tabla playing of a D or E or F of some alphabet. So that is a pitfall for us. Now we think that, yeah, probably a bhajan session sounds nicer when somebody plays the harmonium, when somebody plays the tabla. It helps us connect better, but we must not have it in mind that we will follow a bhajan with full josh only if this XYZ meets my parameters. Then alone. So we should not go into a bhajan session with these prefixed ideas in our mind. So that could be a pitfall towards going towards the source through Namasmarana for all of us together.